So, Tony, could tonight be it for Giannis's time with the Milwaukee Bucks?
So it's really odd how things happen in this regard. Toronto had that incredible shot and then won 2 games in a row against Boston. Boston staggered a little bit, but then Boston came back and crushed them yesterday, just crushed them. I don't anticipate, and I don't think you do either, Milwaukee being able to win 2 games in a row without their best player. So if they go out, then decisions have to be made. I would say this: you know more about Antetokounmpo leaving than I do, if and when he would leave and how they would arrange that, because it might have to be a trade. I would think that the Coach Wood, he might be in a little bit more of a dicey situation than Antetokounmpo.
Yeah.
Because, Mike, it's the Marty Schottenheimer syndrome. He's a great regular season coach. He was great in Atlanta, but not good in the playoffs. Let me get the number correct. 32-31 in the playoffs. That's not good. It's not good enough.
No, Tony, they got a lot of problems there, and it could be the last game. Because when you go out like this in the second round, and look, maybe they win another game. Maybe the narrative starts to change whether or not Giannis plays. I know people are going to get to, what do you guys expect? I have no idea. People there on the scene in the bubble have no idea. So, Tony, let me just go over this. You know, when they got rid of Malcolm Brogdon, who, as far as I was concerned, was the second most important player. Yep. Okay, Middleton's a better player. Okay, if you rank them, he's your number 2 guy. But Brogdon was the second most important player. They let him walk. They let him become he was a free agent. They didn't match it. They let him walk to Indiana, a division rival.
Right.
I told you then, this is the beginning of the end of Giannis's time in Milwaukee. Because if you're not going to keep the band together when they're in ascension, what the hell's he waiting for? And, Tony, I would think it's like, if you're Milwaukee, a small market, what do? Do you just wait for him to walk away and have nothing in return?
No, you have to get a trade.
And what do? It's just...
Well, you have to get a trade. I mean, I'm less concerned, honestly, with what Milwaukee does than where Antetokounmpo might end up. There were 3 teams that stood out to me. One is Miami, because they could really use him, and they're good enough with him to contend for a championship in the East.
Yeah.
Golden State, I mean, he could be for them what Durant was for them. And the other team I thought of was Boston, in the sense that Boston has a great history with big men, going all the way back to number 6.
Yeah, but they're doing something else. I can't see that, Tony. Look, you know the talk is going to be about New York.
No,
right?
He shouldn't go there. No, they're not ready to win.
I wouldn't think so.
No.
I wouldn't think so. But it's just sad. I'm 90 miles. I sit 90 miles from Milwaukee right now. I've grown up with Milwaukee. Was seeing Milwaukee rise with the likes of Henry Aaron. I mean, Milwaukee's had stars and Lou Alcindor, and then to a lesser degree, Molitor and Yount. They've had some star players, Tone. This would be a devastating blow with a new arena and a reconfigured downtown, a re-energized metropolitan area because of Giannis. It's a big deal, man. And tonight, we don't even know. The Rockets and Lakers take the court for Game 3 tonight, later. But no matter what happens in this series, Houston GM Daryl Morey says he wants Mike D'Antoni back as head coach. Morey told USA Today that signing D'Antoni to a new deal is his number 1 priority. The Pelicans, and especially the Pacers, are also said to be really interested in D'Antoni. Tony, you surprised the Rockets, after not extending him last summer, appeared to want D'Antoni back.
Yeah, surprised wouldn't even half of it. I mean, what? Like, I sit there and I hear this, I go, what? What are you talking about? First of all, I don't know how secure your Northwestern pal Daryl Morey is there to begin with. It seems to me they have a new owner, Tillman Fertitta. Correct me if I'm wrong. He inherited both D'Antoni and Daryl Morey. They are not his picks. He took them. He looked at D'Antoni. I am totally confident that D'Antoni didn't get an extension because the owner said, I don't want to give it to him. Not just the general manager. And the general manager, and I know your boys, but the owner didn't like what happened with the tweet about China. So I could see both of them going. You mentioned there are openings. Let me get this straight. Philadelphia, New Orleans, and Indiana are still open. Doesn't it seem reasonable that one or even more of them are waiting to see what happens with Mike D'Antoni? This more than surprises me. How about you?
Tony, look, when you're around, when you stay there, and you have some success, and the owner, while that not being his choice in terms of having hired him, maybe you like him. I mean, first of all, Mike D'Antoni is an incredibly likable guy, just as a man, as a human being. And then you know how hard he works. He's had some success. The only place, well, I mean, New York and L.A., it certainly didn't work out well, but in some other places it has worked out well. Phoenix, and to some degree, Houston. I am not a believer in small ball, but Mike D'Antoni's coached big people in his life, Amari Stoudemire being one of them. Tony, I don't know how this will play out, but maybe the owner, Tillman Fertitta, maybe he likes D'Antoni a lot more than he did back last summer. We're talking about a year ago, Tone. So look, there are a lot. There's some vacancies out there. There's some other candidates out there. D'Antoni's not the only candidate. Let me give you the
best story.
Suppose they beat the Lakers. Suppose they beat the Lakers. Now, I don't see that happening, but then what?
All of the NBA, Mike, this story. He wins the championship and he walks. He does what Barry Trotz did with the Washington Capitals. The Washington Capitals ownership never publicly supported him. They never extended him. He won the Stanley Cup and he walked. He walked to the Islanders and this year beat the Capitals on the way to where he is now, which is the NHL conference. That's the best story.
That's a really nice Big News Bears story that you just, Bad News Bears, I guess. It's Disney-esque, pun intended. But Tony, do you think that the Houston Rockets, as scrappy as they are, as improved defensively as they are, thank you, Elston Turner, James Harden evolved into a defensive player. Russell Westbrook, a new role. All of those great things that point to D'Antoni's fingerprints. Do you think they're going to beat the Lakers and the Clippers? You think that? And then the Eastern Conference?
No, I don't, and neither do you. I don't bet against LeBron.
Don't see that either.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.